Okay, so today we're going to look at Nearpod for Tech Tool Tuesday. And Nearpod is a Web 2.0 application that allows you to upload a PowerPoint presentation and to add interactive activities to it where students would be following your presentation on their own devices. And there's some very interesting ways to use Nearpod, but there's also some really neat little tools in there that allow your students to get the most benefit from your content. So you want to go to nearpod.com. You're going to want to get an account if you don't already have one. To get an account, you can see down here it says create your free Nearpod account. Now I will tell you that the school or the campus, both sides of the campus, are piloting with about 10 teachers the school edition, but you can get a free one and basically use it for most of the same features, just won't have as much storage space, and I believe you miss out on a couple of the little features, which we'll get into in more detail in a bit. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and log in, and when it pops up here, this always kind of took me for a loop, but you actually log in with Nearpod. So and normally when you log in, it will take you straight to your library. So you can see I already have some things in my library. When you first get started, of course, you will have a pretty much empty library, but you'll be able to add to that. What I want to point out to you here is the home button. Here we go. When you click on the home button, you're given basically your menu. So we were just at the library, so we'll go back and look at that again. I want to point out to you that if you click on Explore, you will get a list of prepared Nearpods that they have set up within the site. These are basically actually K-12, although I would say in my quick look at them, they're more K than 9 through 12, but take a look and see if there's anything there. There are some free ones, but there are also some paid ones. So you can explore them either by going to search and putting in your content. So if I put in history, it'll bring up all of the history lessons that are there, and you can see that they have contracted out with Time for Kids to do a bundle where you have 15 Nearpods presentations for $45. So we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at those, but sometimes as you look through them, you get some ideas for your own use to create if you're creating from scratch. There are also the free ones, and if you click here to free lessons, you can see what they have available for free. And again, I know some people have been able to utilize those. They may or may not be helpful for you. I think the real value is being able to use Nearpod to access your own presentations that you already have done, whether it be through a textbook provided or your own particular ones. As I can see, they're having problems loading right now. So we'll go back. And we'll go into create so that I can show you how to create your own Nearpod. And again, you already have perhaps a prepared PowerPoint presentation that you've used for other things. So I have one down here that I'm going to upload. There it is, PowerPoint. So I would click on New Presentation. And a little tricky here, you're tempted to start adding slides. That's not the way you want to do it if you already have something prepared. Instead, you want to drag your files here. So you have to not open your existing PowerPoint slide, but instead find it within your file system. I'm on a Mac now, so it'll look a little bit different, but I have a PowerPoint right here that all I have to do is drag. says OK. And then it'll begin to import it and process it. And that does take a few minutes. I have noticed that there are some limitations in terms of size, and that would not necessarily affect many of you unless you use a lot of images. Images are really the killer, so I tried to select one that didn't have quite as many images as I usually do. So here's my PowerPoint. All 29 slides have been added in. What I can do now is I can begin to add activities to this slide. I can also delete slides, I can add other slides, etc. But if you scroll down to the bottom, it says add slide, and when you click on here, okay, there we go. There are three options that come up. You can add content. So I'm going to click on here to show you that you can add another individual slide if you want. You can take that slide from either a PowerPoint, a PDF, or a zip file. You can add your own video. So if you had your own video that you wanted to add, here's the place that you can do that. Or add your own audio. You can add a slideshow, and you can add an individual PDF. So if you had some text that you wanted to share with students, you could do that here. And of course, you can add a live Twitter stream, which probably no one will have a need to do that. You can also add web content. So here's where you can add an actual website so that the students can see and interact with that. I will come back and do that in a bit. And then note that they say that Flash websites will not work on iOS devices, as all Flash websites won't. Oh, so I'm going to X out of here for right now. We'll come back to that later. And then I can also add an activity. And the activities are generally the questions. They can be used as formative assessment, although I have seen a Nearpod that was totally an assessment. I mean, it wasn't any PowerPoint slides, it was just all assessment. So it has some value with that. You can add an open-ended question, a poll, a quiz. You can actually have students draw things, so for math problems or for if you wanted to have them identify some anatomy, then you could do that. Fill in the blanks and matching pairs. So those are all of the activities that you can select from. Okay, so let's say that I want to add a website. So I'm going to add web content. I'm going to select the URL, which of course I'm going to look at Creative Commons search, so I can come over here, make sure that I have the correct URL, go back over here to my Nearpod, paste it in. You can go through a test, which I've already actually done, but because it's got a little red exclamation mark, I'm going to double check it. Okay, so it's good. And then I'm going to save. So here's, excuse me, here's the indication for the web page. Now I don't want it at the end of my presentation. I actually want it right about here. So I'm going to move that over here. I also have some let's see, up here I have some true or false questions that I usually incorporate right within the web page. Down here I'm going to add slide. I'm going to add an activity. I'm going to add, this is a true-false question, so I'll put in the, copyright is the title. So I will put in my title, I will put in my first question, and notice that you can add an image if you'd like. Notice that you also have mathematical symbols if you were needing to use it for that. And because I'm just doing a true-false, I will put that in here. And you can mark the question true or false. You can, in other words, put the answer in. You can, since this is a quiz, you can also multiple choice, add additional answers, add additional questions. For this one, I'm just going to leave it as the one, and I'm going to save that. And once again, it shows at the bottom, but that's not where I want it. I want it up here, the top. So I'm going to put it right here. And that, if I were doing this for real, would probably actually replace this slide, so I could click on here and then I can go over here and say delete slide. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I would like to add a video. So I'm going over here to add content, add video, and I'm actually going to add from YouTube. And I'm going to do a shared culture. And I believe it was this one. It looks like they're similar, but I'm going to click this one. And I can actually play it within here. In fact, I'll do that real quickly for a second here, so I can make sure I've got the right one.
What does it mean to be human?
I recognize that, so I'm going to select it and save. And now that video is going to need to go right here. Okay, so there are obviously some additional things that you can add. For right now, I just wanted to give you a sampling so that you could see how to use each one of those. I'm going to publish this, and I will call this just Creative Commons. I can put a description tag in here, so I'm going to put in copyright since that's what it's all about. I'll just put in other because it's more than one, and I'm going to select general and say done. It asks me again if I want to publish it. I say yes. So my Creative Commons presentation is now published. So now it's in there. It's ready to go in terms of administering it to your students.